folks. Welcome to the July 11th, 2023 meeting of the Northfield Selectboard. This meeting will be called to order. First up, we have a 6 p.m. with Tom Walker for the Town Hall parking lot and road maintenance update. Tom, why don't you come up?
I'm going to keep it brief, you know. Got a first aid class I'm supposed to be at too.
So what's up?
Town Hall parking lot scheduled for the first week of August, first and second week of August. I've spoke with pretty much everybody, contractors lined up. We are going to take down the two big spruce trees on this side that have a disease in them. Been in touch with the tree committee in town, so once the parking lot's all said and done, they're going to come in and figure out where we can replant trees and put some hedgerows and stuff. Andrea, we all met last week, I think it was Wednesday or something last week, and walked the property. So it's going to be a little chaotic we're hoping we can do it in a week, but it's probably going to be closer to 2, depending on what we find when we get into all the digging and everything. So we're going to make provisions for parking, hopefully. And then if any handicapped people have to get in, we'll make a temporary ramp and have to put it in while we're out there, but it's going to be all dirt. And it's scheduled, everything's supposed to be scheduled, but of course if we get rain like we've had, that whole schedule can be blown out the window.
Don't jinx yourself.
Other than that, we didn't have any damage. We got Pine Meadow Road is closed down on the dirt section right now. There's no houses on it, from the Shearers down to the Irving Town line. We closed that today because the river was just about cresting the road in a couple spots. So I met with Skip and we decided just to put closed signs down there now to protect ourselves. Other than that, we fared very well, considering what everybody else happened to everybody else. So
it's about time.
Right.
Got a break.
So if anybody if there's any other road questions or whatever.
Any anticipated paving projects this summer for streets that might be suffering?
Lower Farms is going to be finished. That's after we get this done. I have that scheduled to be ground and the drainage finished. Most everything got paved just before the first of the year that we had planned for paving. If we have more time, we're going to pave that one section back in on 4 Mile Brook that got damaged in the sharp corner, where it's supposed to be repaved. I'm going to try to work it so they have all their paving equipment right on Lower Farms Road. Can come up there at the same time because it's such a small piece.
Okay.
Gulf Road was slated to be done, but until we get the storm cleanup from this past winter done. And tentatively right now I have a contractor coming in the end of August, beginning of September, to bring a machine in because we can't lift the stuff up over the bank and off the banks.
Yep.
And we're going to end up closing the road we're going to close it during the day, but we'll get it posted soon enough. It's going to be closed all day because there's no way to have the machinery set up in the road and work safely. That could take a week to 2 weeks depending on how fast that cleanup goes. So I put off to finish that paving till next year because I don't want the machine to damage anything new pavement. And other than that,
How about Linden Ave or anything up in that area?
we're going up there the end of September to beginning of October.
Okay.
There's a bunch of things, projects on the ridge that we've talked
there's a
about.
whole
He said he's
bunch
going to put them all together.
So it's on the docket as soon as we finish up these other couple of things that have been on the list for over 3 years to get cleaned up, and then we're going to go up there. Plus the regular maintenance. I mean, we're trying to keep up with that. I mean, the rain hasn't helped us at all this week with the grading because we're behind on that from it being so dry now being so wet. So hopefully it dries out in the next few days that we can get some more of that done.
I realize that there's been some staffing issues again.
Yeah.
So, which we'll get to later on in the meeting, but it's unfortunate.
Right.
So we'll have to meet at some point to do the usual screening and hiring for another employee.
Yeah. And actually I've got a couple people that have come forth already. So once we get it Andrea's going to get it advertised.
It's up today.
Okay.
After 2 weeks we can move forward with that. And other than that, the Warwick Road, as far as it's done. They came back and fixed all the punch lists that was supposed to be done last week. They finished it up Friday. So as far as I'm concerned, whatever's left to do to send them the check on our side,
Yep.
everything they promised they'd do is done.
Then I can release the check.
Yep. Yeah, I went
Good.
out and measured everything today to make sure the guardrail was up. They had that done on Friday. I had a meeting with the engineer Friday and the contractor, and he went over everything. And they had already had most of the punch list done, so. Other than that, that's a quick and brief update of what I got going on.
Sarah?
So I was wondering, at the last town meeting, the special town meeting, we had voted on some land, and I went out to look at the land. One of the roads was impassable, but I wasn't sure whether that was a town-maintained road or not. That was Swamp Road?
Yeah, it's not maintained, but if we have to cut, there's trees leaning from the storm that we had last winter. I mean, if people need to get out there, I mean, we can go out and cut the trees. I walked partway out there and there's like 3 or 4 trees. I don't know exactly how far the land is out there. I didn't have the map with me, but I walked partway to see what there is. But we could cut it to open it if need be. I mean, it is a public way, but we don't maintain it every day. But if we got to maintain it so people like you guys want to look at that piece of land or whoever does, it's going to have to be cut to be done. So if it needs to be done, just somebody give me the okay and we'll do it at some point.
Fabulous. Well, I don't want you to, oh, go ahead.
Yeah, no, I was just saying, because, well, now we've got the committee with Heath on it, so my guess would be any new requests, we just have to look at it in the light of your larger list and make some decisions. 'Cause
Yep.
you guys can't be everywhere all at once. Can you remind me, though, about, you and Andrea, about Highland Ave? That always comes up as a question of like finishing the sidewalk and doing the culvert, and it's
The grant is in.
We were waiting to hear on the grant.
and on the culvert part.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We have
Do you have
streets,
like
we Complete Streets is in for the rest of the sidewalk in conjunction with the Mass Works grant that's in for the culvert. But we won't know probably till early fall
Okay.
whether those get approved.
Okay.
So, yeah,
And then
those,
I know on the sewer side of things, we have been leaning, we've had a lot on our plate even with that, but there's a piece of the sewer that needs to be
I remember
switched around and brought a different way before we can pave actually. So I'm hoping that we can, in conjunction, get those couple of things done so that it can be paved, because it is getting pretty rough.
Yeah.
Is that near Pine Street, that one?
Yeah, it runs, it stays this side of Pine Street. It runs from Aldrich Street, and then it cuts down through the backyards. I can't remember I don't know if you know where Mike Hubbard lives in the
Yeah.
next house.
Yep.
It runs through their yard down to Main Street.
Oh, I know where it goes. Yeah, it goes
Down-
next to my neighbor's house on Main
Yeah,
Street.
and
Oh,
we're
okay.
gonna cut that piece off that runs
Oh,
down there and try to run it backwards into Aldrich Street.
God. Oh.
But you gotta change everything, the pitch, because it pitches this way now, it's gotta naturally pitch this way, but
Oh, wow.
we started years ago having the engineering done, we had test bores and stuff done, but it never went any further than that.
Okay.
But if we get this grant, then we'll see, I mean, it'll probably be more like a next, spring type ready, probably get it ready over the winter time if we get the grant.
Yeah.
right, usually they're for the next construction
Yeah.
season because you don't have time to do
So
all that.
There's a few, I just want to point out for folks at home, like there's a few things on Highland Ave and they all kind of have to
Yep.
come together so you don't end up redoing work
Right,
as a result of
right.
the other project. Yeah.
Yep,
Okay. Cool. Thank you.
all right,
Tom, thanks for
okay,
coming in.
not a problem, see you later.
Next up for scheduled appointments, we have Matt DeLuzio and Robert Perlman, open space appointment.
I don't think Matt is here.
Okay. So you are
Mr. Perlman.
Mr. Perlman.
Perlman, yeah.
Excellent.
So you seek interest in the open space committee.
Yes.
The floor is yours.
Well, I first moved to Northfield in 1981. I bought a house about 35 years ago on Commonwealth Avenue. My whole adult life has been public service, and I retired. And on a trip to Alderbrook I was very impressed, and I realized somebody told me that it was part of the Open Space Committee put that together, and I said I have time to give toward the community. So
Awesome.
I'm looking forward to doing some more stuff like Alderbrook and feeling very proud of it.
Excellent.
Sounds good to me. Anything else from the board?
No, thank you for stepping up.
If not, I'll
I'm
look
just glad to see, somebody different that I haven't seen before
yeah.
in here, interested in serving. That's,
New face.
I'll entertain a motion for it, if anybody.
I motion that we appoint Bob Perlman, do we do Matt DeLuzio, even though he's not here?
Sure,
Yeah.
that's fine.
And Matt DeLuzio.
No, Matt's the
That's already
chair.
there.
That's,
What?
Matt was
supposed to
chair.
be here as the chair. He's already on the committee. He's having,
Oh, okay.
he was-
having you appoint Rob.
Okay.
Oh, okay, I move that we appoint Bob Perlman to the Open Space Committee, term expiring 6/30/25.
Second.
Discussion. All those in favor?
Hi.
Aye. Thank you for your continuing call to public service.
My pleasure, thank you.
All right.
Thanks for coming to the meeting.
Next up, we have citizens' concerns. Is there anybody with any citizens' concerns at this time? Larry, want to come up? We are doing the best we can to limit citizens' concerns to 3 minutes per speaker.
Okay, I'm gonna have to go fast then. I have two concerns. First of all, I wanted to address the special town meeting procedure. I found, when I went in, I was handed a piece of paper, it said yes or no, and asked where I lived. I knew that was to vote for something, but as the meeting progressed, the first thing that happened is with very little, in my opinion, notice, we had a hand count for the purchase of the video building. I don't know how 4 or 5 people can accurately count hands up. I was not happy to see a hand count for something important. Secondly, and I have some other things, but that's not that important. The new building. Obviously, the special meetings had to do with police, fire, and ambulance in the future. And I thought some of the speakers were just giving more opinions on things over and over and over. But a couple of them really had some very good thoughts. One of them was a professional person that appeared to have some experience in major projects. And I thought he said he would like to offer some opinions or some help. I thought that was very good, and that's something that somebody should look at. Probably not popular, but it might be. With the discussion around the ambulance service, I was very much surprised to find out that the town of Northfield has some administrative functions with the police ambulance. I have no idea how that ever happened. I guess it was my fault. I should have attended those meetings. That being said, 2 options. And again, I'm here because I heard somebody at the select board portion of it say, if you have some concerns, come and talk to us. That's all I'm doing, okay? First, if the ambulance is going to be a continued part of a Northfield function, okay, then first and foremost, let's leave them where they are at the Sunoco station, former Sunoco station. Proceed with building a police and fire department together and approach that with a professional spin. What does it cost to build a function like that? Is it $500 a square foot, $1,000 a square foot? Now you have, and again, I'm not familiar with, let's say you have a $700,000 budget. What can you build for $700,000? Not, I really like that Cadillac convertible, but I can't afford it. And I think the message is that they don't, this town, myself included, don't want to spend that much money. Proceed with the construction. Am I on 3 minutes?
I'll allow your last
Just,
thought.
I'm almost done.
Yeah, go ahead.
Build the police and fire department within a budget agreed to with the people in Northfield. Now you got an empty fire station. If indeed the ambulance service is going to be part of the town, let them renovate the fire station. You can't just leave it there empty. It takes a year or 2 years to build it, no problem. They still got a home down the street. And finally, my input was, I don't understand why we need an ambulance service. I moved to Northfield, it's rural community. The people on the other side of the mountain don't care if the ambulance is on Main Street. West Northfield don't care if the ambulance is on Main Street. We have to wait for it. I needed an ambulance one night and they couldn't come. It came from Orange. So just the approach would be, if they're going to be part of it, find the budget. We got to find the number that this town will approve. 500, 600, 900, whatever the number is, and then build it accordingly. Other communities are building fire stations. Bernardston is. Maybe we could find out how they're doing.
Okay.
Maybe they're having the same problem. Thank you.
Just state your name for the record.
My name is Lawrence Jarvis. I live at 25 St. Mary Street in Northfield.
Thank you very much for your concerns, Larry.
Okay. Hope that wasn't on television.
Also, the Emergency Services Building Committee meeting is tomorrow night, so if you want more information and more input, you might attend there.
I'm glad you asked that or forwarded that. What committees are part of this build? What's meeting tomorrow night?
Emergency Services Building Committee is meeting tomorrow night at 4:30 in this building.
In this build downstairs?
I believe here.
Okay. Thank you. Appreciate that.
Cool. Any other additional citizens at this time? Yes?
Dennis Brennan, 4 Mile Brook Road.
Go ahead.
So I'm concerned about the maintenance of 4 Mile Brook Road, but I don't want to discuss it here. So I'm under the impression that you have kind of taken on committees and responsibilities individually as select people. Who is the highway department liaison?
He was just here a moment ago.
Not
the director?
no.
Okay.
Who's the select board liaison?
Well,
to
we
the
have
highway department?
we don't have liaison so much, but we do have a subcommittee that's working with the highway superintendent, and Heath is the select board representative on that subcommittee.
The road infrastructure subcommittee.
Heath, myself, and the superintendent.
He?
Heath.
Oh, Heath. Oh, okay. All right. Okay, so Heath Cummings. Okay. So I can email him with my concerns?
Or me, I mean, I've been spearheading that as well.
Okay.
And I have your emails that were forwarded to me, so we have met.
Yeah.
I have that information.
Okay. Okay, so I'll just email Heath then. And that's
He'll
it.
forward it to me. That's fine.
Right.
That's fine. Or both of us, that'd be fine.
Okay. And then you're going to talk about the flag tonight. Where is that on the agenda? How much for?
It isn't, we were going to mention it, I mentioned it informally to the highway superintendent because that's a project that he's working with on the tech school.
Bob Henry forwarded an email to me from you that it was going to be on the agenda to be discussed tonight.
Correct. So Tom was in a little bit of a hurry tonight because he had somewhere else to be. So it was just in my discretion to just move that onwards at a future meeting, so that when he has the time to discuss what we need to discuss about it, we can do that. But
Does it have to be discussed at a select board
it
meeting?
technically needs to be on the agenda for a select board to deliberate on the future of that project, yes.
If you want to reach out to me, I have more information for you.
Okay, because, I mean, I'm really concerned that it's been, I said a few months, but it's been 8 months
Yep.
that it hasn't been lit, and it doesn't look like the tech school is gonna get to it.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
yeah,
And it's currently not up to infrastructure standard for flag raising, so we are aware of that.
okay. So I would just, my concern would be the sooner the better.
Yeah,
that we
absolutely.
do something with that.
Mhm.
So,
Okay.
and then additionally, I was approached by an individual about some trees potentially, just so, to give you as much information as I
Sure,
have.
yeah.
Potentially putting some trees behind it so that it stands out, the memorial itself, not the flagpole, so that it stands out when you're looking at it, so it doesn't kind of just disappear into the background.
Yeah.
So I just want you to have that information for your going forward as well.
Great.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Dennis.
Would he reach out to the, isn't there a memorial committee or a memorial?
I believe there is. I don't
Yeah.
Oh.
I actually sent, I don't know, I know,
Yeah.
I'm happy to talk to you about that.
I'm sure you're busy.
That is also
but
part of
I-
the parking lot project.
I see.
It is?
Okay.
Yep.
Okay, but I sent an email out to all the committee members,
Mhm.
and then I forwarded it to you. I didn't know that you were the, like, chair at the time. So I'm looking to try to have a meeting, you know, at some point of that committee.
Okay.
So maybe in the next week or two. I don't know what I know you're busy, so we're all busy, right? But if you get a chance, maybe reply to that, and then, yeah, we can meet real quick.
That would be great, yeah.
Okay, thanks.
Thanks, Dennis. All right. Anything else at this time? No? Going twice, once, three? Okay, cool. We're moving on. Review and approval of the warrants. The 6/30/2023 payroll warrant. Is there a motion for that?
I move that we approve the June 30th, 2023 payroll warrant of $12,992.27.
Second.
Second from Bernie. Discussion on that. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. 6/30/2023 vendor warrant.
I move that we approve the June 30th, 2023 vendor warrant of $534,000. Sorry, big numbers always screw me up. $534,085.17. This includes highway, oil and stone, and FY21 Northfield / Warwick Roads Mass Works grant. So I'm assuming the work that we just talked about went through with Tommy is part of this.
Do I have a second for that?
Second.
Second from Bernie. Discussion. Yes, the Mass Works grant is a very big infrastructure helper for our small towns. So I'm glad to see some progress being made in regards to that grant benefiting the town of Northfield. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
I move that we approve the July 12th, 2023 payroll warrant of $63,094.21.
Second.
Second from Sarah. Discussion on that? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And I move that we approve the July 12th, 2023 vendor warrant of $139,755.59. This includes computer services, again, the FY21 Northfield Warwick Road Mass Works grant, as well as insurance.
Second.
Second from Bernie. Discussion.
I have a question. The computer services, is this the IT contract?
This one, it was at the... Vadar. Oh, it's Vadar. It's our software for treasurer, collector, and assessors.
All right. Thank you.
All in favor?
Hi.
Aye. Review and approval of minutes for 6/27/2023, our last open session meeting.
I move that we approve the minutes from June 27th, 2023. That's fine to me.
There's a motion on the
I'll
floor.
second that.
Bernie will second it. Is there any discussion on the motion? Yeah, I looked over them. I always say they look good. I'm sure they look good.
There was a lot.
There was a lot. Pretty detailed stuff. Okay, I'll take a vote at this time for the minutes. All in favor?
Hi.
Aye. Sweet. Interim select board meetings, don't think we had anything. Meetings and events attended by select board members?
Well, we all had the special town meeting.
Have we had a meeting since that?
We had a meeting the day before that, the special town meeting.
Was your regular meeting?
That's right, we did, yeah.
We had our regular meeting, the next night we had this, so everybody had the special.
So that's
town meeting.
actually, is that an interim meeting then?
Yep.
That's
Yeah.
technically an interim meeting, yeah.
Yeah,
Because it was a select, posted
Mhm.
as select.
So
Yeah.
we'll have that listed as an interim select board meeting, Sandy. I can't think of anything. I don't think I had anything.
I didn't have anything.
Sarah?
I went to the open space committee. I met with the tax assessor, and I met with the tax collector treasurer. I met with the sewer commissioner. Went to the VFW Friday gathering, and actually earlier today I went to the Fiddleheads Chateau presentation with Cameron's Winery and a fairy music septet. I think there were 7.
There was a lot going on, yeah.
Nice. Pretty busy.
What was the one before the chateau, Sarah?
VFW has a Friday evening.
Thank you.
Yes, I attended Dan Campbell's retirement party at the senior center. I want to thank our administrative staff from the town side and the senior center side of things for coordinating that. I thought that was very nice.
It was a nice.
It's very
party.
thoughtful.
Yeah.
It was a nice lunch party and a good send off for Dan with the golf balls and the cake and the sandwiches. So that was all very, very good.
I
So
think he loved the golf ball.
yeah, that was
He
pretty
said he's
good.
lost one already.
Sure. B?
All I had was a meeting of the stakeholders for First Light. We're getting together and kind of doing just getting together after concluding the recreation part, and I think getting ready for the erosion and water quality stuff, which will be a lot more complicated. And I also went to the town clerk retirement luncheon. And I spent some time with Linda Keach afterwards because she was retiring that day too, just to thank her and find out a little bit more about what she's going to be doing.
Just so you know, she asked us not to include her. We wanted to.
I know.
She didn't want to
I
be
know,
part of
but
it.
I forced myself on her to say congratulations.
I technically had an agenda setting meeting, but those are going to be
Every Wednesday.
every Wednesday, so but we don't have to include that. I'm just going to say it just so that I sound like I did something. All right.
Holiday too, so.
Yeah, it
there's
was.
not much going on.
It was. Town administrators update.
So we didn't get the raised federal grant for the Shell Bridge. We haven't officially received the notification, but we unofficially found that out. We still have an earmark request pending, and those aren't announced until late summer, early fall. And we are also continuing to look for applicable grants, whether they be state or federal, because we haven't quite given up on that. We did let them know that we're interested in participating in a debriefing. They do debriefing with the U.S. Department of Transportation regarding the application, so we can get a sense of what they didn't like or felt they couldn't fund, or what their priorities were and that we didn't match. And like I said, Mallory's researching to see if there are others, including more recreation and regional economic development based. So we look at different kinds of bases for the grant to see what's applicable.
Can you repeat what you said about the earmark? Can you just?
The earmark is still pending.
Oh, okay.
We know, we haven't heard anything. I don't think they've been released yet.
Okay.
Late summer, early fall was kind of what we've heard, and we'll follow up with that. Probably not much is going to be out of their offices over the summer, but we suspect by then we'll get to hear. Again, it's probably a bit of a long shot, but we're throwing everything at the wall to see what sticks. Keep going.
Can you clarify what the earmark is?
For the Shell Bridge.
Yes, but what
The matching, we asked for the matching funds. The state has told us that they're still holding 25 million, because we keep reiterating that. So the last bid was so high, it was like 49, that we've been applying. They have said that they might come up with, the state might come up with an additional 10 or so, but we've still been applying for a good 20 to 25 to try and make that match so that we could give the state enough money to release the bid again with confidence that we'd have enough money to cover the bid project. So.
Thank you for clarifying.
I've been working on a couple of different things. One is an outline for the Citizens Academy. I have an draft outline kind of based on material I have done from others as well. Happy to give you a copy of that draft, Sarah, if you can take a look at it. It's quite extensive, so we have to decide if we want to do this way or whittle it down, because it's...
I have some information from a couple of other towns. I've met with some folks, and we just kind of shared information back and forth.
Yep.
So
And,
other select boards in the state, so I
Okay.
can share that with you if you're interested.
Perfect. And also, I think we took this up once as a project and it kind of got lost. I'd still like to go through some of the select board policies and get those formalized and revised. But one of them is, I noticed that when we were talking about town meeting notifications and various policies or different ways to go about it, one of the things is you don't have a code red policy here, which is your reverse 911. Multiple times I've worked on actually write a select board policy on how they will use that, so it doesn't get either used or abused or overused, or what organizations will ask about it.
Use it for town meeting.
You can use it for town meeting announcements. That's only people who've signed up for Code Red, so we would do another sort of revamp of like, hey, sign up. Right now it's only emergency, and since I've been here 4.5 years, it's only been used a handful of times, and it's always been skipped. But you can look at the policy on what you would allow and not allow. Some people stick with straight emergency. Some people will say areas of town-wide interest. I've worked in places where they'll tell you when they've closed the dump. But you would have to settle on what you consider your policy. And again, we'd have to encourage people. They can sign up just for a text message or an email or a phone call or all of the above. So they don't have to be called if they don't want. But it might be something to consider as part of the select board policy on the use of Code Red. So
good modern
I'm working
outreach. A
on
good
it.
modern outreach.
Right, and then so I'm working on a draft on that policy if we go forward with policies. As Tom mentioned, we had a resignation from the highway department. We've already posted that at his request. So we'll have to get two select board people generally for the screening and then hiring. We've also listed the police position at the request of now that July 1st has funded that, at the request of the chief. So again, we would need a select board person and for screening and hiring on those two. And we have out right now the assistant town clerk. I need your candidates. We sent you the email.
Yes, I have them. I had some
Great.
things that I wanted to talk to you about before.
Okay,
But
that's
that's one of the reasons I met with our new town clerk.
Yeah.
I wanted to get some of her impressions on, what she would think was important and stuff like that.
Sure. So we're working on that one because we already have the select board members who are going to be involved. I think, Bernie, are you the second person, or was it B? I have it on my notes. I just didn't think who's going to be. There's going to be.
I'm the backup.
Yeah.
It was Alex and I were on the hiring.
A hiring person.
assistant.
We do one screening and then we'll bring Alex in for the hiring.
Yeah.
That's correct.
Okay. So yeah.
Keep me in mind for the highway and the police as well. I'd like to be involved in those interview processes.
So you guys have to make a decision because within 2 weeks, your next one we'll probably be closing them. So just think about it and
We'll discuss it at the next
and
meeting.
discuss it at the next meeting as to who will be appointed to that.
Sure.
And
Okay.
so they're out right now. We'll have assistant treasurer collector as well coming out soon. So I'm working with the treasurer collector.
We're really building the town
Well,
staff, haven't we?
many of these are like 10-hour-a-week, small-time positions that have been funded in the budget. Not the police chief officer, obviously, and the highway worker, but the other two.
Right.
So,
That's it.
I've been mostly working on the close of the fiscal year, and you'll have some stuff here to talk about with the management letter coming up.
To sign, okay. Well, if that's it for now, we'll move on to our first order of business, which is to review the fire chief job description and the creation of a committee and a timeline for the hiring of a new fire chief at some point.
I did want to give you an update. It was referred to the Joint Committee on Public Service, or the House Committee on Public Service on June 23rd, and the Senate concurred, so that's kind of a joint. But there was a hearing on the bill, we were just informed, today. So you could submit your comments between 8 and 5 today. So I did forward that to Heath. I did forward that to Skip. So they don't like to give us a lot of notice, but it's, but there were several, 1, 2, 3, 4 towns that are asking for, I didn't read the bills all in
The more the
detail,
merrier.
but they were all asking for extensions for various public safety officials. So after today, the public hearing should close, so we're hoping that means that this will move forward because there's other towns interested at a more expedited pace. But I'll let you know when we hear back from our legislators on what that will be.
Fabulous.
And then obviously I sent you just some draft things to start to think about some of the questions that really have come up at your own meetings. And a draft of a fire chief job description. So,
Well, there's a lot of things to address in this.
Yeah, I looked at the job description thing, and I didn't have any problem with that. I thought it was, pretty standard.
This was adopted, as it says,
Yeah.
back in December of 2014.
right,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
there's
It
only,
looked good to me.
the
I mean,
underline were the only part that I was
Yeah.
proposing to change.
Yeah. The changes were minor.
Language.
Yeah.
Has the fire department been able to give an opinion on this?
They haven't, I was giving it to you first, to see if you wanted to make any changes to what you consider a draft, and then I can forward it to them. I mean, I can certainly send it in the full draft like this, or, however you guys, whatever your preference is.
Have them see it just like this, unless there's any revisions at this time that we'd like to address, but it looks good from what I've spent reading on it.
Okay. I can forward this to them. And
It's just a lot, though. There's a lot to the position. So I just want to make sure that we're covering all that is required for this position.
I thought the changes made sense. The one that jumped out at me, because this has come up on other positions, I think we talked about this with the police chief as well when we were doing that, was the education and experience. That this one is a little on the low side,
3 to 5.
especially the supervisory, it seemed.
I think I have a note in there. I reviewed probably another 5 various job descriptions. Mostly,
Did you look at the Whately one too?
Yep.
Oh, okay, good.
yeah, most of them wanted, were a little bit higher, not significantly.
I would advocate for maybe having slightly higher work experience. What that number is, I'm not somebody who has a lot of experience in fire department administration. That's not my area. My area is criminal justice administration. So,
I was curious about the bachelor's degree. Is that a standard that a bachelor's degree is required?
It was in the current one, but it is, I saw it in the bigger communities, yes, in the smaller communities, no. So but
This was preferred.
yeah,
Yeah,
it just says
I read
preferred.
that. It said, or a related, bachelor's degree or related field.
Yeah,
Um,
and it's only preferred, it's not required.
Yeah.
But you can always change that. That was just what was already there.
How much of this is? I know that citizens are really engaged right now in the building and in the various EMS and fire and police. How much are we going to put public about the hiring process and job description and stuff like that? Because when I was looking on the website, on the town website, I wasn't finding job descriptions, but I may be looking in the wrong place. I found
There's a
the
whole,
website kind of-
there is,
Yeah. Okay.
there's three posted right now, I think.
For the fire.
No, just for the town. Fire isn't posted at all. There isn't an opening. until you guys discuss your process on whether
I
you want to have
actually
one.
didn't mean a job that we're hiring for. I meant
Yeah.
job descriptions for existing jobs. Are those listed on the?
Probably not. We've never been asked for job descriptions.
Okay.
We put them on when a position is being advertised.
Mhm.
So if there is an ad on there, the job description will be attached.
And what are we going to do about the public understanding the hiring process? Is that something as a select board that we're interested in?
So it's, so what we did,
I
when
think
we,
I did a page in there.
yeah, when we hired
Questions.
John as the police chief, we did have a public forum asking the public, granted it's a different type of position than a fire chief, of what they would like to see in their town's police chief. And it was, I would say it was successful. We had a good group show up, not quite what we would get at a town meeting, but
It was pretty big though.
it was pretty big for
Bigger than a building.
an outreach.
Yeah.
Police is a pretty sensitive job. You get
Yeah.
a lot of public participation in your police searches, which is good.
It's not usually a hot political and social issue topic regarding fire personnel. We need them when things burn down.
Yeah.
So there's not, it's just they're two completely different positions. So is there
I
something?
just-
Yeah,
I
is there
would
something
hope
you would
that
like
we
to
would
see?
do that.
Yeah.
I think it's great, and I think that it helps to defray complaints about not knowing things if we make it available. So,
Okay.
and I think it'll help with buy-in. You know, people recognizing the importance,
Sure.
wanting to chase the building, doing all those things. I think the more the better when it comes to information.
So I think that goes to the kind of fire chief hiring process memo, or I guess what you would call those notes that I put in because I wanted to get some
Yeah.
direction from you. Because right now we're awaiting the passage of the requested extension, and I put the language below so you could see, and the language that passed last time, just for your information, with the term expiration. And then there's sort of some process here. For example, if it's passed before August 13th, I don't know what you want to do for process. I assume you could still update the job description, but the question becomes, if you're going to appoint Skip again, then do you really need to go through the process of holding that public information? So I don't know. That's where we kind of
Well, I would say
direction.
either way we should have something ready because Skip isn't going to do
Right.
this job forever.
So if the interim is not passed in time, let's go with Skip just doesn't get passed first. Then you guys need to think about what your process is for an interim. Are you going to take a recommendation from the fire department? Are you going to ask for application and resumes from within the department only? Are you going to open it up? And are you going to use the current job description for criteria or an updated one?
Typically we hire inside when it comes to an interim.
It's all over the place, but it can be, yes.
We did with the police department.
Yes.
Correct.
Because
Yeah.
we had qualified people within.
Correct. So the question is, do you put out the job description and ask to see if they're qualified, or do you just assume that they're going to put forward a qualified candidate? Whatever direction you guys want to take.
If I know the fire department correctly, they have, assistant chief, a lieutenant.
A command structure.
They have a command structure.
Right.
So
But
I mean, I'm assuming that either of the top 2 or 3 people there
there's,
could do it in the interim while.
I don't think you can appoint an interim who's over 65, however.
Right. Because then
Without-
at that point they're auxiliary.
Correct.
And they can't run into a
Well,
burning
they
building.
have to have the same exemption Skip does, and I think some of your top hierarchy are in that position.
Right.
So we just have to be careful you
Okay,
can't
so
appoint
we
somebody
do
who
have
needs the
to have-
exemption too.
they do have to have the qualifications.
They at least have to be yes, you have to be
Okay.
able to appoint them.
Okay, well, we may have to go,
Right.
Have we asked the fire department?
That's
I mean, that's we know that Skip we hope that Skip is going to stay a little while longer.
Yeah.
And but we know that he'll eventually be leaving, right? And so I think having a process where we begin this process, regardless of whether he goes on, is useful and important. Give a ramp. But I think asking the fire department about an interim, who they would put up as interim, we have a month, right? And certainly Skip's voice would be important in that too. He knows his people.
So I will send them the job description. and ask them to give a recommendation for an interim in the event that Skip's appointment just doesn't
We're
pass
really,
in time.
we're at a turning point right now where we can't really do anything until the state makes their decision. So,
But you want to be prepared.
we want to be prepared. So,
that's what I will do. I'll send them the job description for their review. And then I will also ask them to give you a recommendation on who, well, to
A
give you a name
recommendation
and
or
who
two.
they would recommend.
yeah.
Yeah, maybe a
That sound
couple
fair?
recommendations
Yes.
so that we,
Okay.
I think they were also, based on the last discussion that we had, and the leadership wasn't, well, part of the leadership was here, was who's got what for training. I think that's been part of the exchange of information that hasn't occurred as of yet.
Yeah.
So,
Despite,
But we spoke to them about it, and I think that process may be in process, and we'll know by asking.
so if I ask for their recommendations, do you want something to come with that other than a name in particular?
yes,
Like
Yes.
a resume?
yes.
Yes.
It hasn't come before.
Or just a checklist that matches the requirements.
Okay.
what they do have, what they don't, what,
Okay.
you know, we can look at what they need to get
Okay.
if we need to.
Yeah,
All right.
it's been a while.
That's fair.
Okay.
Yeah, okay.
So we'll do that. Do we want to wait on having a public forum to see whether Skip's reappointed first, or?
Yeah, I mean, I think at some point we need to have one regardless, but I want to just
Okay.
wait perhaps on that until Skip is appointed or not appointed,
We know where we're standing.
so
Yeah,
we
and
know where
also-
we stand.
Yeah, and also we have a public forum, just, it's in the summer, a lot of people gone. You know, we wait till school starts
Summer.
back up. You know, we'll more likely get a few more people there.
Yeah.
You had also talked about a committee. Are you going to wait till after the public forum to see how that plays out?
I think that's what would be
Okay.
wise.
Or at least wait until after we find out if Skip's reappointed or not.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just wanted to kind of start to get the process in place.
What do you think about having a page on the website that says, with information specifically about this important job? It's a chief. So that people can go and see what their requirements are, or see, I really think that people want to be able to go look things up and not, because when they come to the meeting, they have 3 minutes to talk.
Right.
But we're only talking about whatever's on the agenda. I think it would be useful for the citizenry who are, really interested in those chief positions, if they had a page that had the job description and the
So
search process.
could we put that on the fire department page?
Yeah.
The draft, you want the draft one?
I think we should.
I think we should wait till we
Know about
we
Skip.
approve this one.
Right.
Right now,
Oh,
we're
yeah,
just in
yeah.
draft,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah,
I just
yeah.
need information about
Yeah.
how we're going about it. That's
Yeah.
what I would
Oh
like.
yeah, I think we're all on board on that. We
Yeah.
did that with the police chief. We're happy to do that with the fire chief. I
Mhm.
just don't want to put up multiple drafts because
I
then
agree.
people are like
Confused.
confused and then.
Okay, so I'm going to ask the department for a couple of recommendations with name and sort of a resume-ish based on the job description.
On the
Their
draft.
take on the job description. There's the
Yeah.
draft. If Skip, obviously, if it happens in the next month, then you can determine your reappointment for Skip. If it does not, then you can look at the interim qualifications and candidates, and then I'll ask them to get you back the draft job description for your next meeting in 2 weeks,
Input, yeah.
and then
Let's
hopefully
keep moving
you
on
could
this.
come to some resolution on that, because as soon as you vote it, we'll put it on the page, on the fire, once it's final.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'll say for the
I think we should.
7:25
keep this
meeting.
on the agenda until, because hopefully maybe with the hearing was this morning or tomorrow morning.
Today.
So maybe we'll have more coming out of the hearing.
That's what I'm hoping will get us some sense
And
of
so
time.
then we'll know more even by the next meeting.
Mm.
Because at least and the only reason why I know about it is because I'm signed up to get alerts from the Mass government. And last time we did this, they didn't do it this early, so the fact that you reached out helped, and they got
They wrote a letter.
those 4 bills onto the, so my guess is they're gonna try and get that done. might actually know more by the next meeting.
That would be nice.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah. Okay.
So I'll look for an update on Skip's retirement and where that stands, the job description with their comments from the fire department,
Yep.
and potential interim.
As well as they were gonna do some sort of list of who's got what for training and
Okay, I can ask about that.
certifications. They were gonna do a spreadsheet. That's what it
Okay.
says in the minutes.
Okay.
Okay, now I've got some direction, thank you.
Oh, thank you.
Cool. All right. We will move on now to the end of the year, fiscal year 2022 account transfers. We got a bunch we gotta
Just
sign.
3 more, they always,
Three more.
after you do the last warrant, they
Yeah.
always like to
Gotta
pop up.
balance the books. We gotta keep it transferred and fresh. That's
Yeah, I
right.
like to do them as a transfer because then we aren't looking to take them on to the next year. And we're doing it out of money that's already been appropriated rather than trying to raise it next year or do it on a special or something.
So this keeps it on FY '23.
Correct. This
Yes.
moves the money within this FY23 budget
Okay.
and pays this expenditure.
So amount transferred from and transferring to should be the form of the motion. So we have amount requested, state the amount requested, transferring from this account. We don't have to read a bunch of numbers. We have just an informal name of the account,
Okay.
and then transferring to the word that we see for each. And then explanation of transfer can be in further discussion if you want. And I can read that or something.
Quick question.
Mm-hmm.
Did the finance committee go through all these last night?
They met last night and signed them. I have their signatures, so I just need to have them all
Okay,
signed
so they
tonight.
were good. No, but there was no concern.
Yep, we discussed every one of them.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. So would you like a motion on it?
Yes.
Okay. So I move that we transfer $1,500 from, is TH Town Hall?
Yes.
Town Hall pellets to the legal account. And this is due to many active projects needing legal advice, including anticipated expenses for the lawyer and monitoring a lawsuit on the solar field, work on property / town-owned land, town meeting, warrant review and attendance, as well as the shared legal with FERCog regarding FERC/First Light relicensing.
Motion's established.
Second.
There's a second from Bernie. Discussion?
Yes, I have a question.
Sure.
So the 2,500, I'm just confused to see that here because I thought we already dealt with that. Was it just we agreed that it had to be paid and now we're paying it? Is that why it's here?
There was an agreement to pay it months ago, not
Right.
the one that you just did now, but way back in the beginning, because you just did another one, there's 2. And the hope was that legal would have enough in it to cover, but
We don't know when someone's going to sue.
Well,
Right.
and we don't know what other things are going to come up, so we always look to transfer from within, but it was definitely important to the select board that they participate in the group legal effort with the FERCog and all the other communities to have that expertise.
I was just, because we've got 1,500 that we're moving, we have 2,500 that we're paying, and we have a list of other things that we're doing.
Has that one been updated? Oh, you didn't get the updated one.
It's just the printed out one.
Sorry, I thought I sent that to you guys
You
when I sent
did,
it.
you emailed it, but this is the one that.
Yeah, it was a separate one I sent after the fact, and that's only because we got the bill on Friday.
So we have to read.
I'm sorry,
I have to
didn't
amend
read that.
the, oh, sorry.
Okay, yeah.
The description.
Oh, yeah,
Yes,
okay.
So actually make the change, and we didn't know about it until Friday when I got the email.
Should we amend it, or should we just vote no on that motion?
Just amend it.
Amend
I can
it.
withdraw it
Um,
and redo it.
we'll just amend it. Yeah, let's. So
I
we'll
move that
offer.
we amend the motion from 1,500 to 4,000.
All
Okay, that
numbers.
makes more sense.
Yeah, all numbers stand the same.
Yes.
Okay.
Thanks, good eyes.
I forgot this is the one that was
I'm
in
looking
here,
at
but
my
I sent
packet.
it separately because I only had to write it Friday.
The second on that amendment.
Second.
Second from Sarah. Discussion. We're good. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, I'm signing it. Do we need the, is there a different amount?
No.
The other ones are the same.
That was the only one.
Okay.
That was the only one because the
Yeah.
bill came in on Friday.
Okay. And then we have 2 Just clarification on the FERCog arrangement. There's two 2,500. One is for what happened over the past year, and one is for going forward.
Right, that'll be in the next fiscal year.
Right, yeah. One is.
Because that
the
work
second-
hasn't been done
The
yet.
second one is more for erosion and water quality. So-
Correct,
so
for the
that'll be a
erosion
different-
consultant.
Different consultant.
So, is it okay for me to try this motion?
Go ahead.
I make a motion to move $1,000 from custodian salary fund to the rec wages fund. Due to the large increase in programs run by the recreation department, we need more money there, so.
Second.
Discussion on that?
No.
No?
They're doing a
This
fantastic
is a great
job.
problem to have. They had so many things going.
Great.
And the reason it's less
I
than the
can't
present
keep up.
balance is there is additional funding in, that will balance out in their line item that isn't expended. So that's why it looks
Yeah.
like there's negative in that account, but we're only moving it back.
So we're only requesting $1,000. Present balance is 1,205. 1,000's going to still make it
Yes,
negative.
because there's other line items into the amount you voted at town meeting.
And that will put it
And
into
those
the.
will be enough to
Okay,
push.
thank
push the
you.
There won't
Yeah.
be a deficit in the line item you voted at town meeting.
Okay, discussion's been stated, motion's been stated. We have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Good.
Thank you to the rec. Oh, here. Alex.
I'll make a motion that we move $3,600 from the town hall custodian salary to the COA director wages.
Second.
Discussion, explanation.
Right, and the reason it's not on there is because I spent a day trying to figure out what happened, and this one's totally on me. Although in my paperwork for the budget last year, on the master chart with all the salaries,
Yeah, we
the
talked
correct
about this.
salary is listed. For some reason, what we voted at the town meeting last year was the year before. So it just carried the wrong year. Now, I got all panicked, so I went and checked, but it's not, we didn't do it in 24. I used the correct one from 23 with the COLA, 24 is fine. So you did vote the correct amount in 24.
Okay.
I have no reasonable explanation as to just a carry error. Yeah, it was just.
I have a question. So we're moving both of these from the custodian salary. Did we, why is there extra money in the custodian salary?
She has a budget of up to 19 hours a week, but she doesn't always work it.
Got it.
So sometimes it's a little more, sometimes a little less
Thank you.
Yeah,
each week.
okay. We had a motion, did we have a second on that? B seconded it, okay. We're still in discussion. If we're all set, we'll take a vote. All right?
Yep.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. I'll sign that. Okay, the books are fresh.
Is
One
that
more.
it, just three?
You
Or
got the,
four?
you
I
got,
signed that one.
right.
Oh,
did
I'm
you,
sorry.
you have to vote the other one. There's one more?
No?
Isn't there one for
We-
rec director? Oh,
1, 2, we just did 3.
This one needed to be signed.
no, I think I had,
We just did this one.
did you vote that one?
Yeah, we just did that one.
Yeah.
Because we were talking about the custodian
Yes.
salary. Okay.
I didn't,
All right.
sorry. I didn't pass it fast enough.
There's only 3. That's good.
Yes, well, you did a few the
Good
last time, but this is
Yeah.
what shows, sometimes it shows up when you're doing the last final warrant.
last
Some things
draft.
slip in there.
Okay, review of the audit and management letter and town responses.
So we do an annual audit now. So I think I brought this last year, but now that we do it annually, we're starting to see. And this is not the year that just closed 23. Obviously,
No.
we wouldn't have enough time to have audited those books. So it's actually the previous fiscal year ending last year, but we're always running a year behind because by the time they do the audit, we're closing out the next year.
So this is just to make sure that the town isn't buying Maseratis for town employees?
Well, I don't think he makes any judgment on what you buy. All he's looking at is your financial condition
Right.
and that you can afford if you want to buy a Maserati, that you
That's right.
actually don't,
We can put it on the tax base.
that you don't do something.
Don't quote that.
I'm not sure who would approve that Maserati, but anyway, so this is a draft. We always respond. I met with the financial team. So that was the treasurer collector, the financial assistant, the accountant, and the person who works for the accountant that does our books. We all met. We discussed these. I don't know if some of you remember last year, it was
I
a
do.
much longer letter. So we're very pleased actually to see
this
this letter. It really isn't bad. Some of these are
This is
things,
nice and boring.
well, yeah, and some of these we've really been working hard on, and we've already developed some strategies because you remember it's been a year since these books were closed, so some of these we've actually already addressed, but
Well, and it's been, what, a year and a half since we put in the financial policies and procedures.
right, and
too.
we had a staff change at that time.
And you
so-
have a
Right.
financial team that you meet with.
We do. We do meet, and
Yeah.
so we've talked about we've talked about a whole host of things, and we've actually really, I think it's been really good. I think it's a good communication. It allows us to address these issues as they come up, rather than just wait for the end of the year, because we see them. Because when we're talking to the accountant, when we're talking to the treasurer collector, they're seeing this in real time. But there's always things that can do improvement, and that's what the auditor's job is, to find those things that they feel you should tighten up. So we've already done some of that. We've already tightened up some of these procedures, and we've already caught up on some of the big one. Cash reconciliation has kind of been a bugaboo that's been hanging out there for a couple of years, and every year we get a little bit better. Every year we get a little tighter. We've also found a lot of things in cash reconciliations that we've really cleaned up.
How much?
Well, it goes into free cash, so. But I wouldn't know because the whole certification comes as one number, so. But, so anyway, so that's, we've also voted to give an assistant treasurer collector who's mostly going to be a collector. And that will really, and you voted to increase the hours for the treasurer collector's position. And this is going to be.
That was one of the recommendations.
Yes,
Yeah.
and that's definitely what affects this first one, and that's why we're really pleased, and we think we're really going to be able to hit this one hard, because with that extra time, and the assistant treasurer collector is mostly going to start with collection work, which will really free up the treasurer to work on the processes we've put in place to make this get caught up and functioning faster. So we're pretty excited about that. The off-duty details account, towns have a huge problem with this. I don't know if you know about how off-duty accounts work. Police officers work.
I remember that.
We
That came
must
up-
pay them immediately. Then we bill the entity that asks for the detail. Some are better at paying faster than others. The state, for example, can be a year to get our Mass DOT detail payments.
Do they pay interest?
Really?
No, we do charge a small admin fee, but we're not allowed to charge it to the state. So we do try to charge an admin fee, because technically,
As you should.
we're covering
We're
some of the
weighing,
costs. But every
yeah.
town has to do this. We're all in this same boat every time there's a detail. There's been some past buildup. Things have really changed. There was a real push. We did some real back billing, and actually caught a few people a few years out. But this is something that we've carried, and the state really is not happy and now we're going into 2023 and we're still carrying stuff from 20. That's actually 5 years back in fiscal years. So we did go to the finance committee, who've actually removed 2 fiscal years through a transfer off the books, although we'll continue to collect them. If they come in, they'll just be general fund receipts, and moved us to just the current 2 years, which would be 23 and 22, 23 being the new year we just finished, as we head into 24. And we've got some new spreadsheets, we've got some new procedures in place to try to be more aggressive on this. We've decided if we don't get this response, we're also discussing a potential policy, but it takes some real discussion. I have to do that with the financial team about who can request details if they owe us money.
So is Deborah Goldberg, she's still the state treasurer?
The state treasurer?
Or who's the treasurer who's responsible for making sure that we're paid on time?
Well, good luck with that, but
Has to be a team of people somewhere in Boston that do this.
I don't know. I don't know who this goes to. I'd have to ask the police department, because it's actually their assistant. She bills.
Is it usually
department
Mass
that comes
DOT, or is it's others too, right?
It can be others. It could be Mass DOT.
Like
It could be,
construction. Oh, okay.
it could be anybody, but these are often, they can be Verizon, Eversource, private construction
Right.
companies, Mass DOT, anybody who's needs to have a detail by law or by effect goes into this account. It floats every year, and there's always some float, because we're just finishing fiscal 23. Obviously, all those bills haven't come in, but a reasonable amount of float. We weren't particularly happy with the balance. So now we've kind of cleaned that up, and we've kind of got a policy and procedure going forward. And we're talking about putting in place maybe a policy about we can't tell Mass DOT no, or we don't want to get involved in public safety issues, but more optional vendors, if they aren't paying, we can certainly tell them they can't have another detail unless they pay their back balance.
Yeah.
So, but we have to figure out how long back would we say that is and what's reasonable. So policy work to go on for that,
Okay,
but it's under discussion.
very good.
Agency funds. Agency funds are where either someone's holding money and giving it to us, or we're holding money and sending it to them. For example, firearms fees. People pay us, and then we pay the state a portion of that. Deputy collector collects taxes multiple years later, and then pays us a portion of that, keeping their fees. Those accounts weren't being reconciled but once a year, leads to a very convoluted process. So we've decided to go quarterly on that. We think we're in a good position to catch up on that. They don't happen like, you don't need to go monthly. They're not huge things like your books, your regular books, but quarterly we think. So we're gonna do that and change some posting practices as mentioned in the response to make it easier to track them.
Well, all I have to say about this stuff regarding numbers is that if you go to a financial seminar or training out in the Boston area, the people who want to be there are very excited and will make it through those 4 hours, but the people that don't want to be there are asleep by the end of the first half of it.
Oh, I know. This is, and we only have 4 this year, so it's really actually quite a good report. The last one being submission to the receipts to the treasurer. We have a new financial policy in place. They're supposed to be turned over monthly or weekly, depending on the threshold of the amount of money. Most people are pretty good. There's a couple departments lagging. She's going to institute actually a tracking sheet, and if she doesn't hear from department within a month, now she'll ping them and say, "Hey, haven't seen you in a month." But she's going to send a memo at first telling them that they got to turn it over every month or a week if they hit a certain amount of threshold in terms of how much they're holding, and we will ping them should they not respond. And then there's a couple on the back which are just usually thrown in there, and you have some little comments, but they've pretty much all been resolved.
Okay.
I have a question.
And I think I sent you the whole report, right?
Yeah, you did. I'm
Yes.
just
Okay.
looking at it now. Yeah.
So, are we going to, can we discuss the policy, the police detail policy, or do we need to put that on a separate agenda? Because I think that as long as there's not a public safety issue that enters us into liability as a town, I think that if you have an outstanding balance, you should pay that balance before you ask for more.
Right, but we have to be, I want to go through the financial people, including the person who is in the police department who does this, because there's some of these agencies may take a certain amount of time to process these no matter what, but I want to get her take on what is normal. What should we give people? Should we say 30 days, 60 days, 90 days for other types of vendors? And then we have to make a list of who would we exclude. Well, we're going to probably have to exclude Mass Department of Transportation because we can't say no. So we need to kind of create a policy around what her understanding, what she sees, and what's actually happening in practice, and then institute that. So that's the point we are at.
Great.
Maybe we should have Michelle come in at some point for an update. Not urgently, but I'm just thinking of all the changes we've been through in the last 2 years. I mean, we have a great new treasurer and tax collector. We've acted on the recommendation to put more hours into. We have a great accounting assistant. We have a great accountant. And I know that's being on the FERCOG Finance Committee. I know that accounting is a big challenge for a lot of towns.
Very hard to get.
So we're really lucky in that respect, but it all kind of just coalesced in the last year and a half along with the financial policies. So it'd be nice maybe to have Michelle come in at some point and talk about, this is what we found out, and bring up the police and any other policies or procedures that she found that she thinks, you know what I mean? Now that she has more time to actually focus on some of this stuff, and we've gotten through the audits and the policies and the procedures, it'd be good to see what she's focused on and what she finds out about the police
Yeah,
police
and-
detail stuff
Well, and I
and
have to-
anything else like
That
that.
actually will be through the police department because the matron actually does all that collection. and
Right.
She's been working, but she's been working with her, so
Right.
between the two of them, yes.
Right, but just to get her opinion on everything would be great.
I do want to have the auditor in. I think we should wait till after Heath is back
Yeah.
to do that because I'm
Full
sure that,
board, yeah.
so I'll see if I can push him out till, it takes a while to get him. They are so
Backed
swamped, but I want to do it, I'll try to see if I can get August, early September. So hang on to any thoughts, make any notes. You do
Okay.
have the audit information, save it somewhere. If you have any questions, write them down or send them to me and I'll make a list and send them back to you if you're worried you'll lose them. And that way, when it's nice to have him come in, see you guys face to face,
Yeah.
talk about these things.
Just
sounds
to make
good.
a statement too, compared with the year before's audit, this is much better.
Yeah,
And
for sure.
I had notes down on, and you answered the questions
Yeah.
that I had, and the statements that I thought people would want to know. So, it'd be nice to have the auditor in just to, not to go through the whole thing, but just
Follow
to
up.
kind of follow up, hit some bullet points.
And he's worked very well with our accountant. There's really good communication. And he's good at answering questions for them so that they can go forward on that. So
Nice.
wanted you to see the
Congrats.
draft. We'll
Yeah,
send
this
it
is
back
good.
to him and then I'll reach out to him to see if he can come in either August or early September and set up an appointment.
Do we need a motion? Are we signing anything on this? Or
No,
is this like-
no, I
okay.
I want to keep you guys more in the loop. I
Yay.
think these used to just
Okay.
get processed and go through and,
Yeah, the fruits of financial labor.
Well, the thing is, private companies and the way that money is spent and the responsibilities of that are much different in that sense than it is for the public sector, where there's a whole new level of accountability and transparency that has to happen in the allocation and responsible spending of public funds, taxpayer funds.
Also,
So,
the timing of when
the
the
timing.
state does stuff
Yeah.
is really.
So all these variables
Yikes.
all
Yeah.
these push-pull factors, and just to see that we don't have as much from previous years says a lot about our financial responsibility and our fiscal direction of Northfield. So
Good job.
and your team, your good financial team.
absolutely.
Yes.
I really have to give them credit. They're working hard. And they work well together, which
yes.
is great.
Yeah.
Yes, they do. So if that's all set, we'll move on to a review and discussion for the schedule for the select board priority and goal setting.
I think, again, we're going to probably push this into August because we definitely want to have Heath here for that. But I wanted to send the information out to you. The 2 handouts were the ones that went out for the last one, so I included them. And then I made up a form with the questions a little bit, so it'll be a little easier to fill it out. But I wanted you to take a look at the draft to see if there's anything you wanted to change. And then I wanted to ask you, do you want to make a really light agenda and do it in a regular meeting? Do you want to schedule a separate meeting?
I want a separate meeting for.
And do you want me to find a moderator or do you want to internally do it this time? That's another question.
Could I clarify?
Sure.
You're asking not a non-regular, not 2-week meeting to set our priorities.
Yes.
Okay. I just need
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm just trying to remember because the last time we did that, it did take a couple hours, and if we do that on top of
Oh, yeah.
town business, I'm not doing a 4-hour select board meeting. I'm sorry.
No, we wouldn't do it on a regular meeting, but we'd have to make a light
No,
agenda,
but
but
if
it
you
still
have a
would take
light
a while.
agenda, I would appreciate not having an extra meeting.
So we can wait and see, but
Yeah.
did you want me to try and get a moderator for that, or do you feel comfortable handling it yourselves? Last time they had a moderator who kind of came in the first time, but
A consultant.
a
type.
consultant who kind of,
I would vote for not spending money on an outside consultant. It is going to cost us money. I would rather, I think we're grown-ups and we know what we think are important. And we've had very contentious things and handled it relatively,
Yeah.
We're all grown-ups here.
That's right.
So,
yeah, no, that's fine. I just wanted to make sure if I had time, look for one, I need to look now. But if not,
The reason why we had one the last time is the first time
It was
anyone
the
had
first
actually
time.
done it.
We had a
Yeah, so
now you kind of have a
now
format.
we have a
you kinda
format
have
and a template.
So it's a little bit easier, and you have
Yeah.
the list. I think I sent you the list from the last time. So you kind of have that. I figured gives people some working time rather than spring it on you a couple weeks early.
He
It
might
takes some
be,
thought.
you know what might be helpful? Didn't he collate our responses to his questions from before, that might be helpful just from a historical.
I think you just made a list of like all the ones that we then turned into that final document.
Yeah, okay.
But I figured what we'll do is when you pick a date, what normally happened is you guys all answered it, then I would collect it and I just put it all on a list and then send it out ahead of time so you all see each other rather than the first time at that meeting. It's nice to see everybody's responses and think about them ahead of time.
Yeah.
So you can make notes. And you also get to see where everybody hits.
Yeah.
Yep,
Sometimes there were some that were clearly a hit for everybody, and it's good to see that ahead of time.
yep.
Tate is good.
So, all right, so we'll look maybe an August meeting. Maybe, I don't want to push it off too much because the last one was really spring, but I know it's vacation time, so
No,
we'll
that's
have
cool.
to-
I'm just going to point that out. Having agenda items come up on the TV, that is really
Oh,
cool. We
nice.
haven't had that before.
That's a new one.
Well done.
Thanks, Otis.
Great.
So we'll start working on that soon because it's already July. See if we can pick a date.
Well, and then September stuff really starts heating up again.
Budget starts again,
Yeah.
so you don't. So we'll see if we can find when everybody's back,
Okay.
maybe
Yeah.
later. No vacation time.
Thanks for that.
Okay.
So I'll just, Heath doesn't have a lot of chances to take vacations during the school year, given his position in facilities management. So this is his time to do it in the summer. So I think that's kind of like, what he's all about right now is just taking some time for himself. So yeah. So if we're all set, we'll schedule that at a time when we're all together, and we'll move on to the next agenda item, which is the Local Acquisitions for Natural Diversity Grant Program. And we're pretty much just going to be authorizing a project manager. Usually it's our town administrator. We've done that before when we've done something like this. And it's just pretty much a simple motion for a letter of support for the land grant. So.
Right, this grant, and we're just applying for it. We don't know if we're going to get it. The Open Space Committee came to me somewhat around the time that you were closing on the other property that you had initially looked at for potential use for an emergency services building, and expressed an extreme amount of interest in the abutting property straight above it, which was where the rest of the trails are, and actually a majority of them, from my understanding, go up into that property, which is also owned by the same owner. And so they really thought that, and it's in their open space master plan, to put those two parcels together to have really conserve some of it's already had houses built on the corners of it, so they really felt that was a priority. So there's a land grant to do this kind of thing, and so Mallory has been working on that. It's actually due the 13th, and we're putting that together right now. One of it is to include a letter of recommendation, or a letter from the select board of support for the grant. Again, we won't know if we get the grant. It will be out in early fall, late summer. But we figured it didn't hurt to apply for it.
Few.
So.
Oh, what's up?
May I ask a question?
Yeah, go ahead.
So it's a land grant. What specifically we're asking money to do what?
Purchase the property so that the town would have it, and then you can preserve it. Otherwise, it stays.
And the grant money comes before the purchase, correct?
Oh yes, oh yes.
Because there had been talk of a reimbursement, and that's not what we're doing.
No. I mean, whether it's we purchase and they send it a month later, but the point is, we'd have solid commitment to the funding before we would purchase. So, this is, the grant pays 58%. So, of the purchase price. So this
there
would,
is an outlay. There's a financial outlay from our town.
yes, but you'd have to take it to town meeting, which we wouldn't propose to do till the end of the year. We're not talking any times, and we wouldn't do it at all if we don't get the grant. And we're not on the hook. We can get the grant and then decide we don't even want to go forward with it. But there's no point in even discussing it if we don't get the grant, unless you want to pay full price for the property. But at this point in time, it made sense to apply for the grant to see if you even get it. And I think the Open Space Committee actually voted at their last meeting to support this project.
Well, if they support it, that's good.
This
Yeah.
land, can it be used for anything else? I
It
mean,
depends on what you decide,
I
but,
mean, yeah, because is it all wetland? Is it?
well, most of it is, but it probably could support some development around the edges, yes. I think the draft that we
Like the
just take a
first
look
part
at
of
said could
property
be
we
up
did.
to 3, possibly 3 projects, properties could potentially be built.
No. So before we decide on this, we have a piece of paper and be able to look at it. Good.
Sitting in the other room for you.
Yeah. Yep.
We'll be looking at it
So
tonight.
this is just on the moving forward on applying for the grant portion?
Correct, that's all this is
Per
is a-
the request of the open space committee?
Correct.
Okay, I just want to separate it into
Absolutely.
topics, yeah.
Once we
Okay.
get that in.
And we're on the record saying that we're applying for a grant here. We're not saying that the property will be bought or not bought. We're applying for a grant.
Correct.
And applying for the grant and getting the grant does not require us to purchase
No.
the property.
Correct. That, yep.
That's separate.
No.
That's okay.
Do you need a motion then?
Yes, I'd like one.
Okay. Oh, sorry, you have the letter. Do you want to just
It's a letter of support.
send that?
It would just be pretty much the top here.
Well, she doesn't have it.
Oh,
Yeah.
you don't? Not in your. Not
No,
in-
I think she gave it to me
I ga-
yesterday for, Mallory gave it to me
Oh.
yesterday.
Oh.
Is it in there?
Yeah.
I don't.
I was sorry, I was looking at the original. Okay, here we go. I move that we
Haven't gone far enough.
authorize the town administrator and to apply for the local acquisitions for natural diversity, acronym LAND, grant program.
All right.
Second.
Second from Bernie. Any additional discussion on that?
Here's the,
No? Okay, good. All in favor?
aye.
Aye. Great.
There's one for you.
I'll make the next motion. My motion that we send a letter of support and authorization to apply for land grant, program grant.
Okay.
Second.
Discussion?
Thought it was covering both, but that's okay.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Good. Aye.
Now, one of them just needs Alex's signature.
And the other one needs all of
Right
them.
here.
All of us. That's why I separated it.
Okay,
No, it's
thank you.
fine, makes sense.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
Yep, good deal.
All that Alex did.
That's the folder for it too. Sorry, Alex.
I'm confusing him.
The folders are flying.
My signature has gotten very nice in the past 5 years.
Really?
Just pointing that out there.
We'll be the judge of that.
Get that quick.
Used to not be too good. So.
Let's go right in here, Alex.
Okay, so that takes care of our business for tonight. Moving on to topics not reasonably anticipated by the chair 48 hours in advance of the meeting. Well, no, but I just want to know when it would be appropriate for me to resign from a certain committee.
You already did from that committee. Do you want to tell them?
Well, but it's select board appointed though, so doesn't the select board have to authorize the resignation?
Accept the resignation?
Yeah,
Yeah, we should put it on the, we'll put it on the next
put
agenda.
it on the next agenda.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, other than that, there's nothing that I can think of. Okay. Committee and board appointments, we can just kind of get through these if somebody would like to just go ahead.
Yep, I'll go with the first two because that came out of the Historical Commission. So, and this has been discussed and voted on by the Historical Commission. So the first motion would be to accept Lisa McLaughlin's resignation from the Historical Commission with regret.
Second.
Second from Sarah. Discussion on that?
No, she's been with the commission for a long, long time and her schedule isn't, she's
Not working
so
out, yeah.
packed with all of her creative and activities and her research. So, but she still will help us out as we need it, so we feel like we have a consultant in our back pocket as needed. And then the second one, oh, did we vote?
We did not.
Oh, sorry.
If we're good, all in favor on accepting that?
Aye.
Okay, next.
So as a result, what we're doing is we've had an alternate who has been working with the Historical Commission for quite a while, and she's been pretty vital to the 350th efforts as well. And she has a background in early childhood education, so we kind of rely on her on the education of historical things with children, and she also works with the library. So I move to appoint Mary Mayshark Stavely as a full member to the Historical Commission, term expiring December 31st, 2025.
Sarah
Sarah.
beat you. That's it. You got it. Be quick. Sarah won that one.
They're gonna have to arm wrestle over that one.
Discussion on that. Thank you, Mary, for stepping up.
Yeah.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I'd like to do next one if I may.
Sure, yes, go ahead.
So, I would like to make a motion to accept Robin Conway's resignation from the Conservation Commission and the Open Space Committees. She's moved and, she's done amazing work and really.
So just someone want to second that?
Oh, sorry.
I'll second that.
Second for Bernie, further
Yeah.
discussion.
Yeah.
She's moving and has successfully sold her house and has twin grandbabies that she's very excited to spend a lot of time with. So we'll be sad to see her go, but she's put in many years of good service.
Yes, she
and,
has.
We're really grateful. As an addenda to that, I am an associate member of the board and was asked to become a full member of the Conservation Commission.
When did we receive that email? We just got it, right? Okay.
Yeah.
We just got that.
It's on the revised
Yep.
agenda.
Yep.
Yeah.
So it says in the motion
Did we?
that there
Accept
are,
it, yeah.
to accept the resignation from the Conservation and the Open Space, but it says here in her letter, Conservation, Open Space, and Community Preservation. So we should have in the motion that she's resigning from the Community Preservation as well.
I
think we already did.
Did we?
Because she was assigned, is she one who's assigned by?
Yes.
Yeah, like on the historical, we assigned somebody to the, yeah.
So we're all set then.
I think we already did the CPA ones at the last meeting.
2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, the CPC.
CPC, sorry, not
Great,
CPA.
thank you. All right, we're still in the discussion on that. Do you just want to take a vote on it at this
Yeah.
time? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you, Robin.
Okay. And then,
I'll make a motion
Yeah.
to appoint Sarah Kearns as a full Conservation Commission member. She's currently an alternate. Term expires 6/30/24.
Second.
we got a second. We have a motion and then a second. Discussion on that? Anything you want to say, Sarah?
No, I've had a year of learning under Robin, and the intent of me being an associate was to learn up so that when she left, I would replace her.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's what we do, yeah. Good deal.
Well, thanks for stepping up on that. All in favor?
Aye.
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 I don't think I'm allowed to vote because it's
No,
not me.
yeah.
You
Is
can
that a roll?
abstain.
I
Abstain.
abstain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's a quorum, you make it.
That's right. Reappointments.
Oh, goody.
I move that we reappoint Bill Llewellyn and Charlie Blanker to the Conservation Commission, terms expiring 6/30/26.
Second.
Standard,
Yay, Bill
standard
and Charlie.
reappointment. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Concom just went from 2 to 5 members. Just like that. There was only 2 members.
That's quite quick.
Phew.
Another one?
And Bill Llewellyn's has been the chair for a long time. Charlie Blanker is, when Bill goes out of town for the winter, Charlie Blanker is the one that's that acts as the chair.
Mm-hmm.
These are 2 long-term.
Very necessary.
Question on the next one.
2024.
It's supposed to be 2024, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
It says
Good
it
job.
expires 2023.
No, it should be 26.
Oh, 26.
Ooh.
26.
We were cutting him short.
Sandra, uh-oh.
You know what?
Too many
That's it.
reappointments.
That's it.
That's it.
She made another
You're
mistake.
done. You're,
I'll leave now.
Okay, I'll make a,
All too willingly, that's the problem. She's like,
I'll
it's
make a
only
motion to
7:30.
appoint Bill Llewellyn to the Agricultural Commission. Term expires 6/30/2026.
Second.
discussion?
No.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Yay, Bill.
Cool. And then a correction for I'm assuming an error of appointment, to make sure we get the term correct here. For Cynthia Durham to the Cultural Council, term expiring 6/30/2025.
So moved.
Second.
Second from Bernie. Discussion? Yeah, things happen. That's okay. We're correcting it for that reason. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Yes.
Okay.
Worked with Cynthia before. She's wonderful.
Proposed agenda item.
I think you have a list there. We've been trying to add to it. I am actually going to propose that you add a couple of things. I think the police chief wants to come
good.
on the 25th. He has some mutual aid agreements that he would like
Yes,
to
I
have
did
you
speak to him
Oh,
about
good.
that.
So he's requested, and we put him on for that.
Good.
And the Northfield Elementary School lease agreement
Oh, yeah.
that we want to bring to you.
Is
so
that ready to go?
That's ready to go.
Okay, good.
Sandra, before I forget, for meetings and events attended by select board members, if you wouldn't mind putting in that I did take a meeting with the police chief in regards to mutual aid agreements on surrounding towns.
Oh, good. Mutual aids. Okay.
So those two I wanted to add on right now, because those are ready to go.
Okay.
We also have the flagpole issue that needs to be.
Yeah, let me see if I can get a resolution. I'll get that on the agenda
Yeah,
as soon as I
that
can.
sounds good. Yeah.
And we mentioned the highway and police hiring committee decision.
Yeah, this, and a skip reappointment decision I have here for 725 from the fire department with various requests for them.
But the highway and police.
Yes,
Okay.
we will
And
want to
then
add that.
the draft fire, the auditor was going, you said was going to come in late.
I don't,
August?
yeah, I think we're going to move that one because Heath isn't going to be here. So
Okay.
it probably
Late
makes, yeah, and we'll move that down.
And then the special select board meeting for priority goal setting.
Yeah, that needs to be resolved at some point in August.
Yeah. SRO MOU progress. Remove, discontinue separate job description as a role in the MOU. Well, by the time the next meeting comes, I believe the school committee will have a vote on it at that point. So it would be good to have a comment from the board
Okay,
on the progress of that. So let's
Mhm.
see if we can make that a quick
okay.
agenda topic.
I thought we took care of the job description already.
I didn't know if you'd resolved that. I haven't seen it.
I believe we did.
Okay, so we're just really going to leave it with the progress with
We
the
should
SRO.
check the minutes, but
Okay,
that, my recollection was that Heath and Alex met with the police chief and figured that out, that it's actually included, the role description, not job
Okay.
description, the role description is in the MOU,
Yep.
okay.
and it was fine.
The law makes it pretty detailed.
I'd like to add a discussion of a sign. I spoke to our new town clerk when I remember I said, oh, we needed an election sign. She and I discussed it, and I think there's some relatively simple and inexpensive solutions, so I'd like to bring it before the board.
Like for outside town hall?
Mhm.
We tried this at one point a few years ago. Nobody in the town liked it, but I'd like to re-entertain it.
Yeah. One of the things that inspired me was these awesome 350th signs. You know, out in front we've got 350th signs, and we don't need a sign that's going to be able to withstand storms. We just need a sign that'll stand up for a week or two at a time.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
We
and these
had-
can be interim,
We
temporary.
had those exact signs
Yeah.
for years.
Yeah.
The problem we had was
So now we're
Everything.
discussing something that's on the
right.
proposal.
So we had
So
some,
we wanna
but
put
so
that-
Yeah,
yeah,
let's-
let's do that.
That's
Let's
That's
keep
fine.
moving since we're on a roll here.
Okay.
Please.
Yeah.
Okay, got it.
Looking good. If there's anything else that we'd like to consider as a future agenda, just send it to the town administrator,
Okay.
and we'll take a bunch of them, and I will coordinate a agenda for our next meeting.
And from a timing standpoint, you guys are meeting on Wednesday mornings?
Usually
So we
on
just have to
Wednesdays.
have it in like on Tuesday. Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Great,
Be
thanks.
appreciated. Okay. Announcements. We have a resignation from the highway department. Rob Hunter from the highway. There's nothing in the letter that can be read that really states a reason or a why. It's just that his last day will be July 28th, I believe. Yeah, I, Rob Hunter, am giving my official written notice of employment for the town of Northfield for my last day, which will be on July 28th, 2023. Thank you. Very disappointed, if I'm honest, about that. Rob was really passionate at first in being involved in the town in that aspect, and I'm sorry that he's seeking employment elsewhere. Well, so I'll accept a motion for his resignation.
I make a motion to accept the resignation, get his name?
Rob Hunter.
Of Rob Hunter, effective 7/28/23. 23. From the highway department. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Shall I? There you go.
No,
Did you
no,
get
it's
it
good.
all?
No,
Okay.
you got it.
You got it.
Second.
We'll take a second from Bernie.
With
Discussion.
regret.
Yes, with regret. And please, I wish you all the best of luck in your future career endeavors, wherever they may take you, Mr. Hunter. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I
Okay.
have one more announcement. We did put this on the website. We have an email from First Light
Right.
asking people please not to actually canoe and kayak in the river right now. We're at the crest and it's quite dangerous, can be quite dangerous. Plus, with all the rain and the storms and the water,
Bacteria.
some of the buoys and things, they're not, they'll have to do an inventory if all the safety measures are still in place. So they're waiting for the water level to come down. So please do. I know it's a beautiful day, but please take care to give us a few days to see the water levels
Let
fall
Mother Nature do her thing.
before people do that. And like I said, there's further information on the website,
Yep.
including a link that gives you the river forecast. So you can check that out.
And what about
Okay.
the bacteria level? Because I know that with the rain, there've been elevated bacteria in a lot of waterways.
Right, and not so much here, but I know further communities further down, there's actually been flooding in some of the wastewater plants. So, everybody's like, and I don't know what's going on upriver because they have been so inundated. So we're really just asking people to give it a few days to be safer.
We could get more from the north.
Yes.
All right. Good announcement. Any recognition of service? Town shout-outs?
Thank you to two highway workers who rescued us today when a desk was delivered 30 minutes. We had a 30-minute call and they came over and helped us get it off the truck and into the building. So
Awesome.
just want to say thank you to Highway who shows up at the last minute
Good job, boys.
and helps us.
And I think to Robin Conley, who's put in many, many years of excellent service to the town.
All right. So we have a possible executive session.
You have an executive session.
So it is, okay.
It's not possible.
It's not possible. It's happening.
It's past possible.
Okay.
It's definitive.
So land grant real estate discussion under MGL Chapter 38, Section 21.6 to consider the purchase, exchange, lease, or value of real estate if the chair declares that an open meeting may have a detrimental effect on the negotiating position of the public body, and then also to review and approval of executive session minutes from a 5:30:23 meeting and a 6:13:23 meeting.
Not to come back.
Not to return to open
Open session.
session.
So moved.
Second.
Second from Sarah. Alex says yes.
B says yes.
Sarah, yes.
Bernie, yes.
Okay.
We have to sign some things there for the warrant.
Did you? Yeah, the warrant is.
Well, wasn't there extra?
There's four warrants. You may have two on each side of them.
Yeah, that's what I was.
They're heavy.